is the day that many people have been waiting for. The time has arrived where the jury in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial has started deliberations. Now, to recap, then 17-year-old Rittenhouse shot 3 unarmed men, killing 2 of them and injuring the third at a protest against police brutality in the wake of the death of Jacob Blake in Kenosha, Wisconsin in August of 2020. Now, the jury, composed of 7 men and 5 women, was selected randomly with a name draw by Rittenhouse himself. Yep, you heard that right. The people who are going to decide if this guy is criminally responsible for gunning down 2 people last summer were selected by said guy. Rittenhouse insists that he acted in self-defense, but the prosecution wasn't having that during yesterday's closing arguments and made sure to remind the jurors. Let's take a quick listen.
You cannot claim self-defense against a danger you create. That's critical right here. If you're the one who is threatening others, you lose the right to claim self-defense.
So I am not a lawyer and I do not play one on TV, but I am so excited to have joining me to talk about this case, including a surprise move, by the way, that the judge made yesterday, is my colleague and attorney and host of BNC's Making the Case, Yodit Tewolde. Yodit, first of all, I am so honored to have you on Amplified. Thank you so much for joining me before you kick off at 9 p.m. Welcome. Girl, I gotta say, I want to talk about the jurors in this case, and I would love it for you as the expert here who was a defense or is a defense attorney to walk us through, first of all, the unconventional jury selection process that we saw here. What's that about?
You know, I was just as confused because traditionally you pick a jury during jury selection before the actual trial starts. So it was very odd that, so essentially they picked 20 jurors from a pool of 179 prospective jurors. And so they got the 20, 2 were eliminated, so that left 18. So I was under the impression that, of course, the 18 were going to be in court listening to the evidence, and then, or that they actually separated the 12 from the alternate. So you have 18, but then you have 12 that are the actual jury, and then you have the rest serving as alternates in the event that one of the jurors can't finish out their jury duty. Well, then we hear that there's going to be some sort of a lottery in this tumbler that they used in the 1920s, by the way, and Rittenhouse was going to pool 6 names. Those 6 names would be the alternates. The ones that were left, the 12, would then serve as jurors. Very odd, and I think optics, it just looked super incredibly shady, especially with so many people already questioning. They've used it in that courthouse, especially in that courtroom with that judge. And that tumbler was an actual original tumbler that was used, like I said, in the 1920s. I don't understand why, for optics reasons, why they didn't just have the clerk, if they were going to do that, just have the clerk do it. Don't have the defendant doing it. So very odd. Of course, I've been practicing over a decade and I've never ever seen this happen.
Yeah, well, the whole thing just seemed really bizarre to me, but, you know, whatever. I guess the lawyers know what's supposed to be going down in that courthouse. So the Rittenhouse actually faced 5 felony charges, and the most serious one carries the possibility of life in prison. What are the charges that the prosecutors walked into the court with, and what were the lesser charges that the judge ultimately put before the jury when they were handed the case?
I don't recall what the lesser included offenses were since he just made that decision, but the charges are intentional, reckless, and attempted homicide. As you know, he killed 2 individuals and wounded a third. So the intentional was for one of the individuals, Anthony Huber. The second homicide charge of reckless homicide was for Jason Rosenbaum, Joseph, that is, I'm sorry. And then attempted homicide for Mr. Groskrautz. He's the individual who actually survived and testified in court. And then the other charge was reckless endangerment. What the judge did was dismiss one of the charges that the prosecution was sure they were going to get a conviction for, and that was the possession of a firearm by a minor. Of course, Rittenhouse was 17 at the time. He had an AR-15. This is a slam dunk, right? There was an exception to the statute that the defense interpreted for the court and asked the court to dismiss this charge based on this exception that the actual barrel of the gun wasn't a short barrel. I don't know guns, whatever, but that was the exception. They made this argument to the judge 6 months ago. The judge denied that request, then took it up again, denied it, and then now all of a sudden is like, oh, I interpreted the statute now and I agree with the defense and I'm going to dismiss it. Another blow to the prosecution. This judge has been making rulings in favor of the defense, which in my opinion, I've said this early on, this judge might as well just sit at the defense table.
Right. I don't understand what is up with the judge and what recourse would there ultimately be, because we're all watching this. And as a layman who's not an attorney, I'm thinking to myself, it seems to me that the judge is actually trying to make the defense's case and ruling in favor of the defense over things that seem to be, you know, unnecessary to even go back to. What happens when we're watching something like this? It looks like a train wreck. Is there anything that can be done to question the judge in this case, or does he just get to have free reign to make these decisions?
Listen, judges have been doing this for a very long time. The reason why this is just such a shock to people, like people who don't actually go into courtrooms and actually practice before a judge, is that it's televised. People are watching this. But this is what we've seen as a trial lawyer. I see this all the time, and the judges have discretion. The law has ways where you can interpret it and you can actually justify rulings. So can something happen to this judge? Probably not. He's making decisions knowing full well that there are cameras inside the courtroom that people can see. So no, you can't do anything other than, one, if he's up for re-election, don't vote for him. Or go vote and make sure you're voting for somebody other than him. Local elections matter. I gotta plug that in.
Yes, they do. Local elections matter. So the judge throws out the actual gun charge, right? And I can't help but be reminded of 12-year-old Tamir Rice, who lost his life at the hands of police because he was wielding a toy gun. And now here we have a 17-year-old who is now 18, but who crossed state lines with a deadly weapon, wielded that weapon, used the weapon, ultimately killed 2 people and injure another one. And I just can't help but feel like justice might actually fail here. And I wonder, you know, maybe I'm crazy and maybe my eyes are just deceiving me, but it just seems ridiculous to me as I compare the two. And I wonder, you know, if you could talk to us about, at this point, the importance of the jury foreperson and the pressures that the jurors face in trying to sort out all of this evidence that we are watching on the side.
Yeah, well, let me correct you, because I've made this mistake myself. When we talk about Kyle Rittenhouse crossing state lines with an AR-15, that actually wasn't true. So yes, he was 17. He could not buy a firearm. It was bought for him, and the person that bought the gun for him is also facing charges, and he testified. The gun was actually bought in Kenosha by this individual, and the gun was stored. So he crossed state lines. He just didn't cross state lines with the AR-15. There's a tremendous amount of pressure that juries feel, no matter, you know, whether they're televised or not. There's a tremendous amount of pressure, especially when you know that there have been guards called in, troops called in, waiting for this verdict. So you know that whatever the decision is, there are going to be some people that are unhappy with this verdict. The foreperson is usually voted on by the jury before deliberations or before trial starts. I'm guessing that they're going to vote for the foreperson before deliberation started, because clearly they didn't know who the 12 were going to be until this morning. So that person is just the person that speaks to the court on behalf of the jury. The jury as a whole, they have a tremendous job. And here's the thing, and I'm skeptical. I want to believe in juries, but we're not perfect, right? I most certainly believe that jurors go home at night and talk about the case, even though they're instructed not to. Don't talk about the case with loved ones or friends. Don't watch TV. But when you're talking about, Exactly. When you're talking about all of this evidence and you don't know how to interpret it, and the judge is asking the jury to leave the courtroom because he wants to have discussions with lawyers, they're wondering, what is going on? What don't I know? And they want to turn the TV on, and I believe that they do. I think they watch us. I think they watch the breakdown and the lawyers going on TV and saying this didn't happen and the prosecution failed to do this. I think they do this. And I think they take that into the deliberation room. Now, those who actually follow the law and don't do that, kudos to you. You're doing what you got to do. But I definitely think that there's some influence there. And I'm mindful of that too. I cover trials all the time. This is what I love to do. And I'm mindful of what is being said because I believe that jurors actually do watch us.
Yodit, I know that I only have you for a minute, but in the last minute that we have left, I want to quickly pivot to an equally important case, and that is the murder trial of the men who killed Ahmad Albury. The defense attorney caught some heat last week for wanting to ban black pastors from the courtroom, and then he asked for a mistrial. And I just wanted you to share with us on what legal grounds was he trying to throw this case out on?
So basically, the jurors are being pressured by these black political icons in the black community, and they're being intimidated. Listen, we've already discussed how scary being a juror nowadays can be. Yes. But this attorney didn't even know Reverend Al Sharpton was in the courtroom. Aisha, he had no idea until the day after. So you are bringing more attention to who is in the gallery than the actual public figures themselves, who are probably wearing masks. These jurors probably don't even know who is in the courtroom. So what I believe he is doing is creating a record. I think he's creating a record. He wants to be on record making these statements, these objections, because he knows that his client is more than likely going to be convicted, and these are issues he wants to raise on appeal. This is a public trial, which means anybody and their mama can come in and watch. And the judge is not having it. And I will say this judge is a lot better.
Yeah, I noticed that. And the thing about these public trials is that they absolutely have a PR angle to them. So I hear you about trying to make that case. Yodit Tewolde, thank you so much for joining me and breaking all of this down. Remember, y'all, you can get the latest analysis of the Rittenhouse trial, Ahmad Albury's killers, and all the biggest cases on Making the Case with Yodit. She's also shining the spotlight every week on missing black girls who don't get the same attention from other mainstream media sources. So check her out. Making the Case with Yodit airs every weekday at 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on BNC.